Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 career mode for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix today. Always a crazy race here, so let's hope for some action today and hope we can get into the points. We do have the car pace these days in the AlphaTauri, and we'll have a quick look at the performance chart, and you can see we are the 5th fastest team at the moment. Only Mercedes, Racing Point, Red Bull and Ferrari ahead of us. So hopefully we can close the gap to them soon. But Q1, we actually topped the session because I had the difficulty set ridiculously low, which I quite often do for practice. So we're not going to read into that too much, but I figured we'd likely get through anyway, so I wasn't going to rerun the session. Q2, I increased the difficulty, but we still topped the session because I did a much better lap than what I managed in Q1. So you can see here I considered restarting the session, but again, at the end of the day, we probably would have gotten through anyway. With that time, you can see we even Fiat was very close to getting through. So I decided to just leave it in the end and move on into Q3, where we've raised the bar once again, and now we'll see what we can do in the session that counts. So through the castle section in qualifying, very close to all the walls there. Very difficult to get this next right left out of the castle section. It's very difficult to get through there cleanly, but we set our first lap time. We are in P8 at the moment, and that's a slightly worse time than what we set in the first session, so or the second session rather. So we'll see what we can do and if we can improve on our initial time on a second run. So here we go then. This is the final run in Q3, and we'll see if we can improve on what our current position in 8th position. So through the castle section, we can definitely gain some time here, and this right left, as I said, we are very weak through this section compared to the other drivers, but we do find some good gains through the first entire 2 sectors of the circuit. So let's just try and hold this advantage through now until the end of the lap. We might be able to grab an extra few positions if we can gain these few tenths that we have. So around the final real corner on this circuit, and just this little left-right swish onto the main straight. Not sure if anyone's referred to that corner as that before, but we fast forward onto the finish line. Where will we qualify? P5. That is a very, very decent qualifying for us.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Bottas, Hamilton and Lance Stroll. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
And we out-qualify Max Verstappen. Lance Stroll qualifying up in 3rd position. Superb efforts from him. And yeah, the Red Bull's really underperforming, as they tend to do on these tracks with the long straights. A very draggy car they must have. And the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel at the back of the top 10 as well. Not what he would have wanted, being out-qualified by the McLaren of Lando Norris. But yeah, other than that, we will just get into the race and see if we can carry this momentum forward. P5 is a really good starting position for us, so yeah, we will just see what we can do.
A warm welcome to all of you watching at home to today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a race that in its short history has already proven no stranger to drama. A 4th row start is just about as likely to give you a podium as a pole position would. And remember, in 2017 and 2018, both Lance Stroll and then Sergio Perez took surprise podiums here. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Stroll, Perez, the Scientist, and Verstappen, Leclerc, Albon, Norris, and Sebastian Vettel, Kvyat, Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and Magnussen, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Daniel Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty, and Roman Grosjean, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, this is a good opportunity for us to improve on our results from the last race. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's hope things go better than last time out in Monaco, getting a puncture, no points scored there after looking pretty good. But the strategy, we soft mediums to hards, and if the medium tyres feel okay, we will go on to another set and extend that middle stint by a couple of laps, and we'll just go from there. But I assume the medium tyres will be okay. They've been okay for us as of late, so we'll see what happens as we go to the 5 red lights. And the lights are out, and we are underway for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a great start for Lance Stroll, immediately battling Lewis Hamilton into the first corner. Bottas maintains the race lead. We're side by side with Sergio Perez through turn 1 as Stroll and Hamilton still fight it out. So it's 2 by 2 through the first few corners, and Stroll and Hamilton collide there. Hamilton understeering into his rival there. Lance Stroll manages to get ahead of the 5-time champion as we are still racing side by side with Sergio Perez along the second straight towards turn 3. We're going to be later on the brakes around the outside of Sergio Perez, and we have made that move stick on the Mexican driver, and we are up into 4th place at the start of this race. We're still battling around there, but we do eventually get ahead of Mr. Perez and move ourselves up into 4th. So yeah, a great start for us in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix as we head towards the castle section for the first time. We may even be able to close up to Hamilton as Lance Stroll did manage to get ahead. So if they squabble again, we'll see if we can get involved with those two. But for now, I'm mostly focused on just maintaining this track position that we got a little bit deep into the last part of the castle section there, but we managed to hold on to the position nonetheless, and we have made a fantastic start to this race. So that is exactly what we needed to do. But Sergio Perez is coming back at us along the main straight towards the first corner. Down the inside he goes, and we're not actually going to fight him too hard there. Perez is in a much faster car. So at the start of lap 4, he will take 4th position, and we will let him give chase to Hamilton and Stroll up ahead. Speaking of which, Hamilton using the pace of that Mercedes to overtake Lance Stroll along the straight, and not really a lot Stroll could have done about that. The Racing Point car just not as fast as the Mercedes, and Hamilton's up into P2 once again. We get overtaken by Max Verstappen along the straight, and fall behind the Dutch driver. We continue on, and we're actually getting attacked by Leclerc and Carlos Sainz as we head into the first corner. We've gone too deep into the corner though. We're almost into the wall. We just about avoid it, and rather Lando Norris, not Carlos Sainz there, and actually there's some front wing of the other Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel flying through the air there. We made a bit of contact with him as we rejoin the circuit, and that's just very unfortunate. My bad to cut onto the track at such an acute angle, but there's not really a lot I could have done different there. We're relatively close to the right hand side wall. I could have gone a slightly further, but honestly I was more focused on just avoiding the wall rather than anyone else behind. I didn't realize Vettel was there, but we push on to the end of our first stint, and we will box now for the medium compound tyres, and this particular set will do the heavy lifting in the middle phase of this race. The soft tyres not really lasting too long, so let's hope this. That's Bottas out of the race with a mechanical failure. Absolute disaster for the Finnish driver in the Mercedes, dominating this race so far. Got away from the line well, and was stretching away as Hamilton was struggling with Lance Stroll, but that is Valtteri Bottas out of this race, and that is a huge blow to his championship. He was going to probably take the championship lead in this race as things finished, or if not, get very close to it. But with Bottas out of the race, that is a huge swing of probably about 30 points or so, or more, in Hamilton's favour. It's a free position for us, but yeah, that is a huge blow for Valtteri Bottas in this championship season and in this race as well. Alex Albon also retires from the race, but honestly he was doing quite terribly in this one. He was not even in the points, I don't think, at the time. That's another position for us. We move ourselves up into 17th. And the next car ahead for us is Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. So let's see if we can catch up to the Canadian in the coming laps and get through this traffic ahead of us reasonably quickly. We have a little look up the inside, but not able to make the move there. And we are going to be stuck behind Latifi throughout this whole middle sector. I feel like we've got a good run through here towards the castle section, but we're never going to make a move here. It just would never happen. So you know, we could have tried something stupid there, but we're just going to sit and wait behind Latifi, and we'll overtake the Williams on the straight where there is plenty of space as we head past pit entry and overtake Latifi. Pretty easy there as we actually make a bit of contact when now we've gone too deep into the first corner. Latifi gets the switchback and he is back up the inside. Latifi putting up a good fight here, and he's just about cut us off heading into the corner. Now we'll get a switchback on him as we get the DRS as we head along the next straight. Latifi defends all the way to the inside. We do manage to get past, push him back to the right later on the brakes, and we'll easily get that position and shift our focus forwards once again to the next group of cars. But for now, traffic not too much of an issue as Leclerc and Russell battle away side by side, and Leclerc gets the better of George Russell in this case. We go to the left of Russell and make the move on him fairly easily, and we can give chase to Charles Leclerc once again. But a quick note on Danny Kvyat. He is actually leading this race at the moment, and that is Lewis Hamilton right behind him. Hamilton has made a pit stop, of course, but great to see Danny Kvyat leading the way in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He is doing a great job in this race so far. But anyway, we'll move on right behind Charles Leclerc as he's caught up in the traffic. So we'll see if we can make the most of this at some point very close to having an I am stupid moment in the castle section there. But we will move on from that as Charles Leclerc goes for a move on, I think that's Antonio Giovinazzi up there, and as they run side by side towards this left-hander. This cannot end well for one of them. They somehow managed to get through that very tight corner. Giovinazzi manages to get the better of Charles Leclerc. Great driving by the Italian. We almost make a move on Leclerc into the final corner, or at least have a bit of a shake around and have a look, but he is going to get the DRS along the straight, so we're probably not going to be able to challenge him here, as yeah, he'll get the DRS from Giovinazzi, but we'll try and stay close. Actually had to check the front wing just to make sure everything was all good on that front, but we're fine. We can continue on, and we can now give chase to Charles Leclerc. He's actually not made the move on Antonio Giovinazzi there, so the Alfa Romeo, I mean, he actually has DRS from the car ahead of him as well, and I'm not sure who that is, but that explains that. Let's see if Charles Leclerc can get the run along the next straight towards turn 3. Can Charles Leclerc overtake Giovinazzi? He's going to need to clear the traffic, or it's going to burn a lot of time, not only for him, but for me as well. And Leclerc not going for the move on Giovinazzi, so the traffic costing us both a lot in this race. But continuing on once again, Giovinazzi defends Leclerc to the outside. We go to the inside. We're going to make it 3 wide. No, we're not. We're going to back out of that one. And Charles Leclerc will this time make the move on Giovinazzi, who's slow on the inside. Can we get to the outside line? No, Giovinazzi blocks that off. We'll see if we can switch it back to the inside along the next straight. Nice exit, DRS open, and this will be a nice and easy overtake on Antonio Giovinazzi, and move ourselves up into what is now 11th position in this race, and Charles Leclerc up into the points as things stand. But you can see here we've actually got some pretty decent pace versus the Ferrari. We're managing to keep up, so yeah, that is a great sign for the improvement of our car. As we have a look up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen into the castle section, that is a really tight, nice move there on the Iceman, and we've moved ourselves up into the top 10 and can give chase to Charles Leclerc. Once again, that was very, very fine to get through there, but we did manage to do it. Next up, as I said, is Charles Leclerc. He is behind Carlos Sainz and moving around on the straight. Can we overtake Charles Leclerc? Yes, we can on the outside. Sainz, though, might get in the way a little bit here. A bit of contact potentially with Charles Leclerc on the inside there as we tried to give him a bit of a squeeze, but we do get the move done on Charles Leclerc. And now we can try and give chase to Carlos Sainz and the rest of the group up ahead, and see if we can make something of this race. I'm not really sure. There are different strategies going on. Some people started on medium tyres, so it's a little bit confusing at this point, but we get the move done on Sainz nice and easy up the inside, and move ourselves up into 8th position. Next up, Esteban Ocon. So can we catch the Frenchman in the Renault through this first group of corners? We're actually moved up into P7 as various other drivers begin to make more stops in this race. Our next stop is on lap 29 if we go into another set of medium tyres, and I think that's what we'll do.
Around a second faster than the car ahead. Keep this up.
And a second lap faster than Esteban Ocon. He hasn't been on the pace of Ricciardo, but that is a huge difference. We are faster on the R&D charts than Renault, so it kind of makes sense, but wow, there's a huge difference in pace, and we'll quite easily be able to make the move up the inside into turn 3 on lap 21 in this race, and we'll be able to stretch away from Esteban Ocon and focus on the next car ahead, which is Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc will need to clear Esteban Ocon as well. But as we continue on further in this race, we move ourselves up into 3rd as other drivers make their pit stops. That is not our legitimate track position. The likes of Lance Stroll will, I believe, filter out ahead of us eventually. But we'll see what happens. Stroll, I think, has lost the place to Perez, but I'm not entirely sure. That is lost 2nd place to Perez, as Bottas retired, Hamilton in the lead. But anyway, we make our way into the pit lane, very close to the left-hand side wall there, as Stroll was making the move on us at the same time. But anyway, we will go on to a final set of medium tyres for the rest of this race, and they will carry us to the finish line and see where we re-emerge right now as we exit the pit lane. We've been overtaken by Carlos Sainz. So that's not really great. We're in the top 10 still, so track position is okay. Other drivers still need to make stops, so...
Sainz is ahead of you. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 9 laps old. We think they've got one more stop.
Yeah, I think good points are on the cards today after seeing that, so we'll need to catch up to Carlos Sainz. We need to catch up to Daniel Kvyat up ahead as well, and see what we can do in this race as Raikkonen tries to go up the inside. We swiftly get our act together and get a move on there. Not sure what was going on there. I must have fallen asleep for a couple of laps up the outside of Carlos Sainz. Easy done, and moving up into the top 9. Next up, Daniel Kvyat, our teammate. He's a fair way ahead, but we'll see if we can catch him. There's a replay of the move on Carlos Sainz. Bit of contact made there. Raikkonen weaving around all over the place, trying to take advantage there. Not able to get Carlos Sainz, but here's the onboard with Sainz. We're easily around the outside. He just understeers into us, and yeah, just a bit of a classic incident. If you get pinched on the inside, very hard to avoid contact like that. So Raikkonen there had the hands going everywhere, trying to avoid Carlos Sainz and trying to find an opening. Not able to find one. Raikkonen still behind Carlos Sainz. Moving on though, we move up into 8th position as we continue on through this race. We still have not caught Daniel Kvyat quite yet, but I think we will relatively soon. That's the fastest lap of the race there for us, so we've got some mega pace at this point. I think the likes of Hamilton are yet to make their final stop, so I'm sure they will come through at some point. And
you're sat in P8. Daniel is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 3.4 seconds.
Yeah, the likes of Hamilton will eventually take those fastest lap points back off of us, or singular points. But anyway, in the meantime, we have eventually caught up to Daniel Kvyat on lap number 36, and we'll see if we can make a move on him here. We're gaining and gaining, not hugely, but we might be able to just get close enough up the inside of Kvyat as we get very, very close on the right front there with his left front, but we just about make the move on Kvyat and move ourselves up ahead of him. He's still got another stop to make, so he's not going to fight us too hard, I don't think. even if he wanted to. Here's the replay on board with Kvyat. We got our elbows out there for sure. Kvyat probably not too impressed with that move, but oh well, it's done now. We're ahead. Clean pass. Round the outside of Lando Norris as well, and we're up into the top 6. Next up is Max Verstappen. So can we maybe catch Verstappen in this race? That would be incredible if we could be the lead Honda-powered car in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I think we've got a better engine than Red Bull, so I think we might be able to do it.
You have P5, Verstappen ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 6.3 seconds, 4.7 seconds, 3.7 seconds, 2.1 seconds. Less than a second separate you.
And so ends another Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a fascinating race and a well-deserved victory. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
What a finish for us in this race. But Lewis Hamilton takes the race win, Sergio Perez takes second place, and Stroll makes it a double podium for Racing Points.
Let's have a quick look at how the driver's standings have changed. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today, an incredible performance.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
I thoroughly enjoyed that race. Yeah, I decided not to commentate over that last part and just put some music because I feel like that's just a little bit more intense. But yeah, I can't believe it. Like, we were catching Verstappen and then 2 laps to go. I sort of caught up to him, couldn't make the move on lap 50, and I thought the race was done at that point. I didn't think we would have enough left in the tank, but yeah, coming out of the I think third to last corner it is technically on the final lap, put it up into Rich. I'd saved up, I made sure I had enough fuel at overtake mode to try and overtake him, and it ended up being quite easy there. So in a way, it was actually a little bit anticlimactic that we got past him so early along the straight, but I mean, I'll take it any way it comes. That's a P4 at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and wow, it certainly is not the result I was expecting coming into this weekend. I've generally struggled around this circuit, but you know, it came together for us this weekend, and we come away with a very, very good result. And as I mentioned earlier on, Danny Kvyat leading laps for the team, so that's always... But yeah, what I was saying, Danny Kvyat leading laps, so that's a great sign for the development of our team. I don't think that could have happened with the car we started the season with, and now we are climbing towards the top of the midfield. We're already getting there. Obviously in this race, we managed to beat Verstappen, so and yeah, even Kvyat managed P7, so yeah, it was a great result all round for the team, and I'm hoping that this can continue. There's the move on Kvyat, very, very tight there, but we did get through without any damage, and there we go. We managed to get Verstappen on the run to the line as well, so a great race.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
Biggest rival at the moment, I'm going to go with Sebastian Vettel. We had a bit of a coming together during this race, but honestly, I think with the constant development of our car, I think we will be able to take the fight to him. So yeah, I think I would say Sebastian Vettel.
You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you?
We'll have to see. As I said, we've improved the car a lot, so...
Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Claire. Alright, so that brings the Azerbaijan Grand Prix to a weekend. What? That brings the Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend to an end, and we get to claim level 7. We get the next lot of driver perks at level 8, but we haven't even unlocked the first round
For me, this is probably what I'd invest in.
Of them just yet. But as for the R&D, Carl is recommending the chassis side of things to start some work on, but I don't know, I'm still sort of leaning towards the engine side. We definitely have a better engine. Red Bull have the worst engine on the grid, so that explains why they were so slow in a straight line. But yeah, I'm leaning towards working on the engine side. We're going to go for some extra ERS power, and that will help us run in overtake mode more throughout the coming races. We also, after practice, did some upgrading then as well. So what did we do then? I had a look at the engine side. You can see that upgrade not there as this was recorded first. I really should have put these around the other way, but anyway, what are we going to do? The chassis upgrades are actually still in progress there, so we can't really do anything there, which is where I wanted to spend some resource points, but you know, I can't. So we're actually going to go for some durability upgrades instead, and they will yeah, hopefully help us avoid any grid penalties. It's going to be pretty tight whether we can get to the end of the season with penalties without any penalties. Normally it's pretty easy, actually, to be honest, to get through the season without penalties. You know, you just run old engines in practice, and that is really all there is to it. But with the Honda durability, the parts, especially the ICE, tends to wear out quite a bit, so it could be a bit tricky, but we'll see how we go Hopefully we won't have to take any penalties. But anyway, other than that, there is not too much else left to say. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Parts have been completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Thank you, Carl, for interrupting my introduction. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time from the Canadian Grand Prix. Goodbye.
Affirmative. Medium tyres at the next stop. That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.